All right, folks. Hey, good afternoon and welcome on back here. This is Monday afternoon, November 3rd. Pop the webcam up. There we are. Great to have Farzad, Genevieve, Brian, Jim, all of us here just joining us back inside our live trading room. Otherwise, back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Popping up lower left, right in front of my ugly mug right there. That's self-deprecating, right? But at Cyber Trading U, just down below, if you're new to our channel, new to our stream platform, I'll dim the lights there a bit. But we are good to go, though, otherwise, because listen, earlier today as the markets pulled back, we had a couple of good stocks that moved up very nicely during that time. Well, since then, markets have been bouncing back up pretty nicely, not breaking higher recently of late, but there's been a bunch of trades holding the market up. I mean, now Nvidia, I guess, dragging down a small amount, but that was killing it just before. The Taiwan semiconductor trade was doing great just before too. Palantir's pushing back on up to a new all-time high right there. There's a lot going on right now, not even just with the large name brand mega cap stocks, but a couple others that we've done pretty well on, still holding on to this QURE trade from earlier on this morning. I ended up chasing this. I got stopped out on a position earlier as before we did our workshop, and pretty much I got back in on the slingshot back over 30. Now, the game plan with this thing is a little bit different compared to some of the other stocks that are on our list on the gainer side this morning. This company came out seemingly some terrible news with their drug. They had some great news that came out on one of their drugs. That was back at the end of September. And we ran this stock up from low 40s. I think I got in at like 43, ran all the way up towards mid 60s. This was a great swing trade for the time being. Pushed up even higher from there. But whatever the hell happened this morning, listen, this thing is down big. You can't really trust it in the sense of, oh, it's just going to go back up. No, that's where, in fact, right now on my trade, hopefully this does make a higher high. Because if it does, I'm going to look to get out pretty soon, because this has some good long-term resistance dating back to like 2021, end of the year there, right around these two lines, around 36-ish, around 37.50-ish. So just generally speaking, would love to see that get tested, and that would complete the dead cat bounce for me. Maybe it does squeeze up even more from there. But for right now, this stock, at least for the day, it's at the intraday highs. It's a little bit more volatile, probably more of a category 4-ish type of trade here. But again, it's all about knowing where to get in from. And if you don't know where to get in from on a lot of these trades yet, you should not be trading this type of stock. I'd rather you be trading something like a Fubo. It's inching back on up a little bit, even slower than I'd want it to. Maybe something like an MSAI here, if this could hold over support. Genevieve, we were talking about this exact price. I'm in on this trade right now from this area, 193. I have my stop set at least, but hopefully this could hold up. So the QURE, I don't mind like adding this to our main watch list, at least for right now. This goes to more of our category 4 to 5 traders. If you make $1,000 a day, I'd say, if not, maybe a little less, if not, definitely more. You know who you are, right? Let's look in the mirrors and stare at ourselves there. So, I'm going to put this on our list for our more experienced, profitable traders. But I want to focus on stocks that have better order books, better liquidity, something moving as good as this on the way up, but tighter spread, better orders out there at most prices. So honestly, this TGE to begin, I guess this thing fell off a cliff from Friday, end of last week. I don't know what happened there, really. Take a look at the daily chart. Some IPO, Generation Essentials Group. This thing fell off a cliff, though, off its listing. So had a big pop on Friday. Actually dumped all the way back down after that candle on Friday. And today it's trying to recover a little bit. The long-term trend on this is down. So you should expect to have this fall off at some point. I don't trust this whatsoever. Is it making higher lows today? Yeah. Is it on the gainers list here still and at the top of the gainers list? It is. So for right now, I'll put this on our watch list. But listen, if this kind of comes right back below these wicks here, just breaking below that and having this serve as resistance again, this is likely done for. So, we'll add it, see if there's even better trades that aren't, I don't want to say as weak, but yeah, I mean, that aren't as weak long term, right? Turn. Oh, I missed out on this trade earlier today. This took a while though, so I'm happy that I missed out on it, but also it moved up without me. So what I'm referring to is this had a big iceberg order on the buy side pop up shortly after 10 a.m. And this did a good job. It held higher lows, but it took like an hour and a half for this to materialize. So I was focused on other trades at that stage. I didn't take this one, but big order on the bid popped up. It retained higher lows as support. And at least even afterwards, a new order did pop up here, but it still hasn't made higher highs. It hasn't broken out. So I'm not going to add this stock to our list now at this point. So we'll move on. DTCK, Davis Commodities, obviously breaking new high right now. Cheap thing, it doesn't have as big orders out there on the books, so the spread's going to open up on this a little bit here. So be careful. We'll go right to the daily chart again. This thing also an IPO back from like end of 23 at least. So it's been around for a bit. Not really much historical resistance to focus on, quite frankly. So if the stars really want to align, this could just keep pushing up and up and up. Not really much blocking it from back then. Hey, I don't mind putting this on our watch list here for now. Hopefully the order book fills in even more DTCK, and we'll keep it going. You know what to do with that glass of water there for a second. This is holding support, MSAI. I was hopeful for this to make a better move earlier on today, and we went over this in our live workshop just before here. So went over the thought of this bouncing, but didn't drop all the way down to 150 at the time. If you're looking back from last week's graph, these lines represent highs that flipped into a support. That's kind of a Captain Hindsight comment, but if this wants to make a better move from this stage, well, it needs to lay over perfectly. I mean, higher lows, but if not that, just this area here, this 192. Talked about that in our live workshop earlier also, where had 353,000 shares that got filled right at the market open at 1.92. So that has to be support. If it's not going to hold higher lows from that area, this thing's going to fall off a cliff. Just remember, this thing was like a penny stock below $1 last week. It's at 2, moved up to almost 250. So let's not discount how big of a move that already is, right? Not every stock goes up 1,000% in one day. So for something like this, it is possible with lower highs coming up, we could see a lower low. Just be mindful of that. I'll come back to it at the end if we need to. Iron's going back up a little bit. CIFR is trying to go back up a little bit there. That's a very strong chart long term, breaking all-time highs once again this morning. So wouldn't mind putting this on our list for right now. Let's just keep it moving, though. Let's keep it moving. See what else we got here. Like AMKR. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but this is like one of the cleanest trends that we have all afternoon. At the highs, just breaking out now. Order book is a little skimpy looking at the size, but the spread's contained. I don't mind it for now. AMKR. Now let's go back to the long-term graph for this one here too. Pretty healthy long-term. Big pop today to begin this weekly candle, but pretty much it had good resistance. Oh, this actually looks pretty good. This had some good resistance dating back from the end of 23 into pretty much the midway point of 24. A number of different wicks topping off around this area. I know a couple pop and drops there too. But hey, maybe now this is the moment that this could flip into support. So even if this pulls back going into next week, look for support to build. But for right now, we're going to keep running this up here. Maybe it goes all the way up to 41st. Goes up to 41st before the drop back down. Who knows? So we'll add it. CSAI, it's going up a little bit here. Looking at the daily chart, it has not been going up a little bit here. This thing, lower highs pretty much the whole way through. Maybe this is the moment where it begins to make a sharper squeeze up. That is possible. Again, I'll come back to it at the end if you want me to. Probably say that about a few different trades, but just I don't want to build up too big of a watch list now at this point. I want to save room for like the CMTXs of the world, the CTMXs of the world. This thing's flying up beautifully here. So not only that, look at this long-term graph. I don't know what's going on with this stock. Probably hasn't been doing too good for a little while. Yeah, some stock back from 2016, 2017. It fell off a cliff for a little while there, but doing pretty good today. Doing pretty damn good back from April, March of this calendar year. So no complaints on that front. All right, so that's a good trade. Lumen. This has been on a tear as well, long term. LUMN. little flat for this afternoon. Ooh, pretty interesting graph now. I didn't even realize Friday after the gap down, it closed pretty much near the highs, then pushed up here today. So be on the lookout for Lumen heading into tomorrow. A little slow, little wonky here this afternoon. So we'll come back to it if we need to, like later on. Carvana's doing all right today. Not really tradable. Micron's at $235 stock. That's pretty crazy in its own right. LABD, BE also at the high of the day, but pretty expensive too. I want to focus on volatility. So that's where the IREN stands out. That's where the CIFR, if it could break over 23 again, could stand out. Let's hop over to the losers list, though, seeing if there's anything looking as good there. If not as a short, then maybe as a dead cat bounce. So I guess this is dead cat bouncing DD from 34 up to 34.50. Kind of slow, though, given how much it's down today. You'd figure it would make a better move like the QURE already has. Still, this could be even doing better, but this has been pushing up pretty damn nicely, and we already have this on our list. Which one was that? Hold on, go back. SOC, Sable Offshore Corp. Order on the bid at 750, 10,000, not like that big, but support pretty much sitting at 750. Dyslexia. This looks like all-time lows. Yeah, looking like all-time lows for the stock. I mean, to begin, not just the. Oh, it's funny. I didn't even mention this in our live workshop. Today, Monday, is not just like Monday. It's not just the beginning of this weekly candle. This is technically the beginning of the monthly candle, right? So we just finished up, obviously, October last Friday. Here we are now in November. So that reflects on the monthly chart. Look at this giant gap here from October into November. Then it only broke lower after the open. That's brutal. That's bad. That's not good for this company. It's good for us because we're going to try and short this thing, right? So we'll see if this could break 750 and keep on going. It's easy to borrow on my platform for TradeStation. You trade down bad today. Let's take a look at the long-term graph there. Yeah, lower high, pulling back below this low here too. Could be a decent short if the markets pull back lower heading into the close, or if they reverse, then this would be on the table for an easy short opportunity, I feel. CRML, I thought this would have been up today, no? Ooh, took a huge hit after the open. Wow, surprising. That and the USAR trade also. Both of those could be potential shorts to work with then, right? QS down big, LAES down big. There's the Navitas. There's our Rigetti trade. TMC is near the lows. So it looks like the metals and rare earth stocks are taking a huge hit so far. So again, that goes back to like USAR, CRML, TMC. That's another one I was a fan of for a little bit there. TMQ is not really shortable, pretty slow. So I don't mind adding at least those three: the Carmel trade, USAR, and the TMC. Those three near the lows, as a potential short. And then that kind of wraps it up here, folks. Not much that I remember or recall seeing looking like a steaming red hot short to work with here heading into the close. Jobby got beat up earlier, but that bounced. Moderna, flat now. LAC, this thing fell off after the squeeze it had from 1 or 2 months back, right? Oh, it's coming down to the gap here now at this point. Beautiful. All right, this might be back in place soon enough. We'll see if this ends up trying to fill this gap. And if it doesn't, then play back on. We'll see if this could try and bounce over this area. But if it opens up tomorrow lower, if this acts as resistance first, needs to get back up and above this, I would even say over 506. That's the open price on that candle. So right there. And we'll see. We'll come back to this trade, I'm sure, at some point this week, the LAC. For right now, we'll kind of scrap it. But Chuck, Kathleen, Brian, Jim, all of us here right now inside our trading room. Let me know if anything else is looking good from your side of things. Todd on a couple. Take a look. Nah, this one's not trading any good volume, Todd. Pass on that one for sure. SoFi, we love SoFi long term, obviously. We've been calling this out for a little while on and off just throughout the calendar years of swing trades. So, we like the stock, but we've seen it do better. That's all. CIFR pushing, Tim. Yeah, I said I'd come back to a couple of those that were on the gainer side at least. So, Cypher's one, the Iron Trade's another. You know what? I'll add them, but we've seen them even like perform better at this, part of the day. So if the cipher at least can break over 23 and flip it clean into support, then you have a good chance for this to move up higher by tomorrow morning. But 23 and 24 were two big levels to work with today. Check back to our trading room here briefly. I'm sorry, just one moment. Trump and President Xi get an agreement on China rare earths. It will knock the bottom out of all of those American and Australian rare earth companies. So a better trade would be to short the metals. No, well, the way they're trending right now, that's what you want to focus on. CRML, we put that on our list for pretty much the directional reason there at the lows heading into this time of the day. Same with USAR, same with TMC. Now, going long term, if you look back on like the long term graph, you got to see which one's the weakest of those. Because if there's any one that's like holding a big level or approaching a big level, I should rather say, I would give respect to that as support. In the case of USAR here, this thing's not looking that great because it fell back below this as resistance. So that already wasn't looking too good, right? Like if it stays below this, this thing I could see easily dropping back down towards at least these lows that we had back from September, if not even lower, perhaps. But yeah, it's a good thought. Went over the U trade already, Shaffin. So that one we have on our list for a similar reason, just in the sense of at the lows heading into the afternoon. This is more uranium related, if not like directly associated with the whole rare earth metal situation happening. This is more tied with nuclear, if I'm not mistaken. But just big weakness today on the stock, down over 14% and breaking below that low from last week already. So definitely not looking good as far as a buying opportunity. Would focus on the short there more first. Let's see, anything on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Hey, popping up lower left if not already. Just make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button down below at Cyber Trading U. You go live Monday to Friday, market open and market close, just throughout the day, different broadcasts. We'll be back on tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern, led by Fausto himself. But we just conducted a live workshop earlier today too. So if you're not inside our live trading room, and if you're not subscribed to our social media channels just yet, just do so. Hit the follow or subscribe button down there at Cyber Trading U, and you'll be squared away. What else we got here? Check out Benzinga before we finish up here. NAUT. It's trying to inch up a little bit. Maybe. And this thing's a cheap stock. This thing's been on a little tear, huh? Interesting. How much volume is the stock trading today? NAUT. 1.2 million shares almost. That's enough. All right. I don't mind adding this thing to our watch list for right now. NAUT, kind of a late bloomer here heading into the afternoon. DTCK, we already got on our list. RTNX, not bad. Not bad. Inching on up right there. Not terrible. SHPH, that's kind of looking terrible. HUT just popped. HUT. So we already have Iron and CIFR on our watch list. This thing's just kind of popping on its own accord. I think HUT has earnings this afternoon. Either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I'm not going to play this then if that's the case. I'd rather just, see how it unfolds for after the earnings. That's all. That's okay. We'll focus on others. The Wolf trade squeezing back on up, though. That one's even more tradable. So if anything, I wouldn't even mind kind of adding the Wolf there to our list at the end, and that will kind of do. I like those two. It was the NAUT and this Wolf trade that we'll focus on for the afternoon. Oh, you got to be kidding me. QURE came probably with about like, I think my sell's at 36.50. I think my sell on this trade's at 36.50. It came pretty damn close just before and spiked back down a bit, but it's still holding good direction. We're going to keep this on our watch list, and hopefully we can see this pop back up one more time, go up towards that 36.30-ish, 37-ish area, and go from there. Let's see real quickly, folks. Yeah, the BE trade pricey, and more for that reason. I'm not gonna kind of have that be noise. So yeah, and HUT tomorrow. That's what I thought so too, Michael. So you know what? Again, we'll see how that unfolds tomorrow. We'll pass on that for this afternoon. Also, I like the QURE a lot more. If you're in on that already, you know that you're killing that with us. The SOC trade actually looks pretty damn interesting. We have a few good shorts to work with there too, and the rare earth and metal stocks, you call them. So there's a lot on the table. But hey, just the name of the game is to just be organized and just start on a couple to begin with. You don't want to flop around like a fish, be like overwhelmed. Look at this stock, look at that. You're not going to make any money that way doing it, right? So that's where start and stick with a couple of these from our list. And if they're moving, they're moving. If they're not moving after like 3 o'clock, 3:05, 3:10 time, then see what else is moving from this very list. And then we'll kind of shuffle a couple in between elsewhere. All right, folks. But best of luck trading going into the close. We'll be back tomorrow morning on social media at 9 o'clock Eastern for the morning meeting, and we'll go from there. All right, folks. Talk to you all soon.